It's about time we got another anime game, and this time we're going to destroy the demons with the power of forged bonds. Yeah, let's go. We got Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba the Hinokami Chronicles 2. That's kind of a mouthful for a game title, but anyway, it's been a while I created a video like this and it feels good to be back. So we're going to be going through the basic overview on everything you need to know about this game. Let's get right to it. Da 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 da. Alright, let's get started. If you're a streamer, before you proceed in the game, select options on the intro screen. Then you want to select the sound settings and make sure you set your music player settings to restricted. This kind of helps you follow like the guidelines and make sure that when you're streaming and you're posting your gameplays, there's not going to be any restrictions. But yeah, that's kind of something I made a big mistake in mind. So let's go ahead and proceed to where we left off. Demon Slayer 2 kicks off with a prologue where you're going to fight Daki and have some walkthrough of the basic mechanics for new gamers. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, so let's go through the intro screen, right? So in the intro screen, you got your story, you got your versus mode, you got online match, you got the path of Demon Slayer, and you got training paths. Why don't we start with the story mode, right? It follows the anime arc where you go through the entertainment district, to the swordsmiths, and end with the Hashira arc. So the key things that we want to highlight here that's kind of new compared to the predecessor are: number one, you can run. I gotta emphasize that you can finally run in this game, especially when you're like exploring. So before you couldn't, but I'm pretty sure that makes sense because at this point Tanjiro, or whichever character you have, has learned total concentration constant, so it's pretty obvious that he's a little bit more faster now. But I'm just happy that they brought that because it was pretty annoying in the last game where you couldn't like really sprint, especially if you're trying to get some Kimetsu points here or there. Not only that, you also get more side missions because again it's a longer story mode, so you are going to have more side missions, and some of the side missions are extremely long. I do like the side missions though. But yeah, in the game menu, something that you want to highlight on the bottom left in your game menu is that the top things that you want to focus on here is your gear and your Kimetsu point shop. I'm not saying that you don't want to focus on the other things, but for the sake of what you need to know about this game, your gear and Kimetsu points are really important. Starting with the gear. So the gears are essentially add-ons that can help you in your battle, and some of them can be used in your story mode or some can be used in your versus mode, right? And the best way to tell if a gear is only for your story mode is that look at the description of the gear. It starts with for story mode, but then it's, even though it's for the story, but some of them can also be used in both. Some gears will need to be unlocked or bought. You can unlock your gears while playing the story mode or some other modes in the game, or you can just go ahead and just buy it. And that leads on to my next part of what's important in the story mode, which is Kimetsu point shop. And this is not only important in the story, it's also important across the game. The Kimetsu point basically lets you buy anything in the game. I'm being honest, that's really insane when you think about it, right? You can buy gear, characters, attires, ultimate arts, system voice, Slayer ID frames, profile photos, quotes, decorations, music tracks, and stamps. That's a mouthful, but you name it, you got everything except probably like guys like Michael Jackson and the top 2 Upper Moon characters. But yeah, that kind of covers it on the story mode. I really enjoyed the way the story is in terms of like giving all that nice cinematic cutscenes. Similar to the predecessor, and I'm pretty sure if you play games like Naruto, it's kind of similar, right? So I mean, if you are kind of new to like Demon Slayer and you're playing it, I think you're gonna really enjoy the story. Next is the versus mode. Before we get into the characters, let's just talk about the general things in here, right? You got versus player or CPU. There's practice mode to train yourself. There's match settings to determine the type of match you want in terms of like the rounds and the handicap, etc. And finally, we have the endurance. Let's focus on the endurance pretty much. It's basically your survival mode, right? When you think about this, right, you can play number of battles to complete a particular mode. So in the beginner mode, you got 5 to clear. Then you have the intermediate where you have to fight 10 battles in order to clear, and you have the advanced which ends with 15 to clear, and it kind of tracks your timer there. So I mean, the lower it is, the better it is, and you might unlock more stuff, right? And while the actual survivor mode is basically like until you're done. The best thing about these modes, I believe, is you can pause it and come back, because again, it does get tiring, right? So you can pause it and come back to your battle. Just keep in mind that when you pause the battle and come back in between, it's gonna continue where you left off from your health, so you're not going to come back full health regardless. So just keep in mind there before you do that. But again, I kind of like this because you can also leverage your gears to help you with your battle, because sometimes it does become difficult. Like I remember when I was playing the advanced mode, my gosh. All right, now that covers endurance. Let's go to the characters, right? I'm going to go to the versus CPU and we're going to focus on the characters. And we got 46 playable characters, which is 28 more from its predecessor. That is perfect. I love that. Now, keep in mind that each character has its own moveset. You have L1 or R1, or you can do LB and RB, and that's to change the character's outfits. Then you have L2 and R2, or LT and RT, which is to change your signature move, right? For example, Hinokami Kagura, Tanjiro has the Clear Blue Sky or Raging Sun Eternal. I mean, those are his movesets you can pick from. So I think just want to pay attention that some characters have two signature moves and some don't. But in terms of one thing you want to keep in mind here is that there are two ways to unlock your characters in the game. The first option is that you can simply buy the deluxe. You're gonna get some Hashiras and probably some academic characters, but I mean, it's kind of a waste of money when you think about that, right? If you're just buying that to unlock characters, which leads on to my option 2, which is simply just play the story for about 3 to 6 hours and buy the characters. You're gonna unlock characters per story, but you can buy a lot of your characters using your Kimetsu points in the Kimetsu shop, right? So you can get Kimetsu points if you don't play the story or play some of the modes, but just keep that in mind that the best way to unlock characters, and to me in this game, is that after you play the story about 3 hours to 6 hours, that's how long the story can take you, depending on if you want to explore and watch the cutscenes. After you're done with that, per chapter, you see the characters you unlock. You can come back to your CPU or whatever mode you want and see the characters that you have not unlocked and just go ahead and buy them at the Kimetsu shop. That's really simple. Now, another thing about the characters is that they did introduce this in the versus mode where it's a tag team finisher. Characters with this URL or attachment icon at the bottom of the left after you select your first character means that they are compatible for a dual ultimate. In the battle, the dual ultimate can only be activated when your ultimate level bar is at level 2. So keep that in mind that that only happens if you are compatible. If you select a character that is not compatible with a dual ultimate, you're practically going to have like ascended ultimate finisher, right? So similar to the previous gameplay of Demon Slayer 1, in summary, if you're not compatible, if there's no dual ultimate, you're just going to get a much more powerful ultimate for that particular character you use. And that's it. So that kind of covers it for the characters. So I mean, all the characters that are available are the ones that are for the anime to date that we've seen in action. Like when you think about it, right, we never saw Upper Moon 1 and 2 in action, and we did not see Michael Jackson really fight. We just saw folks trap him at the end of the anime, so they're just strict with that. Infinity Castle arc, I wonder how they're going to explore that, because I mean, when you think about it, if they're going based on the anime timeline, it's not going to be done for like another 5 or 6 years, or probably 8 years at this point. So the best approach, probably if they want to introduce all these new characters, is to probably just buy like a add-on for the entire story, because it doesn't make sense to wait until like 5 or 6 years to complete all the Infinity Castle and release it wouldn't make sense to release like a part 3 of the game, to be honest. I just think bringing add-ons and letting folks like pay a good amount of money for it, you add the story, etc., that would be good. I mean, that's up to it. All right, that covers the versus mode. Now let's go to the next one, online. I am not going to spend much time on online. I mean, online, it is what it is. I just think there's really nothing to explain in online mode. Like, you just play against characters online, etc. So let's move on to the next one, which is the Path of a Demon Slayer. You're going to be able to experience some of the most prominent battles from the Hinokami Chronicles 1. I'm pretty sure you guys already know what's obvious here. Like, I mean, it's your top battles. I mean, the only battles you don't find here is Tanjiro versus I forgot what his name was. Oh my gosh, the drum demon. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name already. That's bad. But I mean, yeah, that's practically it for the Path of the Demon Slayer. The next part, which I actually enjoy, is the training path, right? The training path is really a unique thing that they introduced, and we have to take a moment to appreciate this, because you can train with your favorite Hashira or any Hashira of your choice, right? But keep that in mind that you cannot use demons here, excluding Nezuko. So because Nezuko is technically a demon slayer, even her ultimate version is still considered a demon slayer, but surprising you can use her. But simple steps. So once you select the Hashira you want to train under, in this case I'm going to use Rengoku. So once you select your demon slayers, in this case I'm probably just going to use Zenitsu and Inosuke, then you get the screen that shows you the path that you can follow to get to Rengoku. So the end goal is to fight Rengoku at the end. He's the final boss, or whichever Hashira you want to train with, they will be your final boss. Yeah, one thing to know is that each path has their own process on their own conditions as well. So again, like before you fight any of these characters, you can see the conditions of your bonus they give. And yeah, that kind of helps. But one thing I do like about this, it is similar to the survival mode, where you can suspend your game or pause your game and come back at a later time. You continue from where you left off. And not only that, you can go and train under a different Hashira and it would not eliminate your progress. It will only eliminate your progress if you want to come back and restart with the same Hashira from scratch. So that kind of covers it. With the Hashira mode, I kind of like this undergoing training with it. I mean, it's really a great opportunity for you to master a particular character you want to use, and you might get some bonuses, right? Who doesn't like that? But that kind of covers this entire video of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Hinokami Chronicles 2. Oh my gosh, that is a mouthful. God damn. But yeah, that kind of covers this game. Everything you need to know. I did the best as I could, but shout out to you all for supporting my channel. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more content, and hit that post notification bell to stay updated. Until next time, peace.